the fire with the superhuman dad, Kyle, with us today. And Kyle and I spoke a little bit before we hopped on. Kyle is in the fitness space, but he's not always been in the fitness space. He's been a paramedic. You had a bunch of different jobs. What were you doing before this super dad adventure?
Yeah, I actually worked at Washington Mutual Bank for 7 years. That WAMU, remember Corky WAMU? Like, if you're like 30 or less, you probably don't even remember who that was. But it was just this bank that had all these like purple and pink colors, and the brand was just like, we're weird, hang out with us. And and that was like in the mortgage boom in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so they went bankrupt, and they got eaten by Chase, and then I got bought out by Wachovia Bank, which got eaten up by Wells Fargo, and then I got bought out by Countrywide, which then got eaten. That's a weird way to say that. Eaten up by Bank of America. So everywhere I went bankrupt. It was like I was the cursed man. I just go to this bank, and they just go bankrupt within like 3 months. But
that's your superpower.
Yeah, my superpower is like, hang out with me. I'll bankrupt you. Perfect. And then that's obviously very different now. But that was the path I needed to take. And so everything was taken from me. All of my success, my houses, my cars, my pride. I think I literally had my just manhood just cut off of me, just gone. I was like, what happened to me? And then I delved into this magic world of firefighting and paramedicine.
Mm-hmm. So during that time, you felt like the human dad.
Oh, I felt like,
and then you transformed into superhuman dad.
Yeah. And I mean, the only way to grow in confidence and power and wisdom is to go through some hard shit. That's it. You can read all the books you want, hear all the stories, but if you don't go through it yourself, you will not become that man. You just won't. That's life.
So is this where you created this brand? Was during the boom, and then the real boom of the mortgage industry?
Man, this was created like on a whim, organically, just completely by feel, and just is because I know now that I've always been really good at getting men to make moves in the right direction. I've always been good at that. I've always been good at taking someone who's unsure or scared and getting them to step forward into the dark. And since I was a kid, but I just didn't see it. So when I was I was firefighter paramedic for 15 years, and looking back at that time now, I was always coaching everyone every chance I could. Usually, as you're coming up in the ranks, very humbly with questions rather than trying to tell someone what to do, because you're a new guy. Like you don't get to tell anyone shit. And so
was this after mortgages? So after mortgages, you transitioned to being a paramedic. All right. So we're at 2008 right now. That's where we're at in this journey.
Yeah, 2008.
We don't have to talk about the mortgage crisis. Everyone knows what happened there.
Yeah. So that crashed, and I was like, my wife was like, well, what are we going to do? I couldn't see myself like not working at a bank and not crushing it. Like, if I'm going to work at this bank, I'm going to make a shit ton of money. If I ain't making a shit ton of money, I am out. Like, what's the point? And I was like, I actually was angry at money. I was like, fuck money. Like, this is what got me in this problem in the first place. Is like, I was chasing it. I was chasing the money. And I was like, I'm not chasing money anymore. I'm chasing service and passion and like adventure. So I was like, I'm gonna be a fireman. At this point, I'm like 28. Like, I feel like I'm over the hill at 28 at this point, because I was like, we had made it and we lost it all. It's over for me, you know. But I was like, okay, well, let's go sign up for the fire service. And I thought it was like the military or something. You sign up. Little did I know, everybody else in 2008 wanted to be a fireman also, because they all lost their jobs and were like, that's a government job. Let's do that, safe and secure. So I go get an EMT job after EMT school. I'm 28 years old. The year prior, I think I made like $300,000. But when you invest everything in really bad investments like banks and real estate, you lose it really quick. And so now I'm broke, and I'm making like $8.50 an hour driving an ambulance with some 22-year-old kid telling me how shitty I am at my job and how I'm probably going to get fired. And I'm like, how
Isn't
did
it crazy how, like, people are all about real estate now, and,
I?
like, people completely forget about, like, people were completely wiped out?
Dude, wiped out. Like top peak of the mountain, like feeling like a god, to just sweeping the
It's
streets I used to
it's
own. That's
literally like the
like,
banking crisis is basically like that episode in South Park when he goes into the bank and he goes, "Here's my money," and the guy goes, "Alright, good, it's gone." He's like, "What do you mean?" "Well, you know, it's gone. You wanna deposit more?"
it is. That's exactly what it was like.
"But where'd it go?" "I don't know, but it's gone."
I don't know, but you know what? Real estate always goes up, and the banks are always safe. So put more in. Okay,
Of course.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So you're you have some was this 22-year-old kid your boss or just, like, telling you sucked? Like,
he's
or
like been there a
like, when you're
while.
28 versus 22, you're like an old man.
Yeah, yeah. He's a trainer. He's the trainer, and you got to go through your FTO, your field training officer, to get you signed off. And I'm like getting threatened to get fired, but I'm like the second day because I can't drive. I'm like terrible at driving the ambulance. Like I don't know my way around town. I'm so nervous that I can like forget to put it into park. I'm like, oh god, like so. So this begins 5 years, maybe 7, of like extreme new guy stress. Like my stomach's in a knot, uh, and my cortisol levels are like bleeding out my ears, like for 7 years straight. I didn't realize I was such a nervous Nelly, but in that world, that first responder world, I am not a natural in that place.
What were you so nervous about?
Well, judgment. Judgment is one. So you have massive peer judgment. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you cut vegetables, your food, the way you respond on emergencies, the why you grab this first before that one, and then you screw shit up. Like you forget to like little stuff, like you forget the gas cap on the fucking ambulance, and then you get called into the office, and like. And you're a grown ass man, so you have all this pride because I made money. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm awesome. And they're like, no, you're actually an idiot. And I'm like, fuck, I'm an idiot. You know that. I don't want to be an idiot. Well, you are. So I learned real quick. I really haven't done anything in my life. I don't have anything of value really to provide for the world. Like, so I'm starting from scratch, man. Like, and, it took me 7 years to gain my confidence. 7 years. And when I did, it came in hot. It came in real hot and it felt good. Um, so I did.
Isn't it crazy how, like, you could lose your confidence in, like, 12 seconds and then how
Yes,
much time it takes to get it all back?
bro, this is the whole concept of superhuman fathers. Everything is rented. Everything must be earned every single day. And if you do not go through the process, your systems every day, you will come out not confident on the other side, and you'll be out of power in that day. And right now, my biggest focus is to be in power at all times, meaning
Mm,
spiritually connected to my purpose and understanding what it is that I'm actually doing here, the things that are important and prioritizing, and keeping ego and selfishness out of my life so that I can actually be effective every single day in everything that I do. But it's such a good point that you make, how quickly you can fall out of power, how quickly you can destroy the relationship with your wife, how quickly you can lose the respect of your children. It's crazy.
yeah, I mean, I started a investment company during this little thing called COVID in March of 2020. Great timing to start a business, and then ultimately been attempting to figure it out during a global pandemic, which is crazy. And then ultimately, like, had some people that I decided to work with not do what they were supposed to do, and then setting me back, and then just basically sitting here thinking to yourself, like, I guess I just got to keep swimming.
Yeah. How old are you, Josh?
I just turned 33 4 days ago.
You're
Happy
just
birthday.
you're young type, bro. You're young type. I didn't even delve into this world of entrepreneur life until 38, where I started. But see, I was ready at that point with the life experience to go and crush it. I couldn't have done it at 33. There's no way, bro. There's no way I could have. Obviously, you have a lot more experience in that. But I had to go through some shit, like the darkest shit, to be ready for this. There's no way I could have led men without going through what I went through, those 7 years of hell. There's no way I could lead men without having gone through that, losing everything and having to like find myself again. There's no way I could lead men without losing my faith, going into a place where I didn't even believe there was a God, to coming back and finding him again. Like there's just no way. I had to go through that shit. I had to go through a long marriage where like I was a shitty dad and a shitty husband for a long time to see the difference, you know? And so I tell guys like your age, like, bro, you're good. Just keep swimming. Yes. And swim harder and faster than any other motherfucker on this planet. And then get more consistent than anyone. No ups and downs, no yo-yo man shit. You want to go to the top. This is the thing I learned in my late 40s. Oh, don't miss ever. What is it I want? Build that system, show up every day. There are no excuses. There are no times when you rest, ever. That's the life of an entrepreneur. Now, does that mean you have to work 20 hours a day? Maybe at some point you might. I did. I had to work while I was in the firehouse, working 3 or 4 days a week. And while I was at the firehouse, working while I was working out. And then at home, putting in another 20-hour days while still trying to keep my wife happy and be a good dad to my kids while trying to build this system to help men and build this program. Like, bro, it was gnarly. But what I've learned is like, once you're not afraid of the work anymore, then like when you get kicked in the balls and you lose everything, it's like, I love this game. And I know that the consistent man wins, and I am the consistent man. So if you lose it all, you're just like, I'll rise and I'll learn from this. It'll be great. You know?
That's I mean, for me personally, I feel like I started at negative and I had to climb out of a hole. So like my whole mindset is with building something that's going to be worthwhile. Even if I go back to zero, I'm still ahead of where I was, because going back to zero isn't the worst part. When you're 6 feet in the ground with dirt on top of you and you have to dig yourself out, that's the real struggle.
Yeah. And the value is in the skills and the knowledge and the wisdom. That's where the value is. And so if it requires costing you whatever funds you have, then so be it. You know, you're gathering the power to create it, you know? And once you have that power to just create money out of thin air because of the value you provide, then you just don't worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. So when you're at this darkest point, what was it when you were in training? Was that like the darkest point when you're in training, this 22-year-old, your boss telling you suck?
Partially. I mean, ego wise, yeah. But I think the hardest part was when I actually got hired as a firefighter in Thornton, Colorado. And I was on probation and I was like, okay, I made it. And those guys did not give a shit about me or that I had kids or that at that point I was 30, a grown man. They fucked me up. Like, and I still had a lot of shit I needed to work on. I didn't realize how prideful and selfish I still was, how much of a people pleaser I was. Like, I wasn't good. My skills were not super good. I still didn't have a ton of confidence. So on calls, I'd get run over by other guys, like when it was supposed to be my call to run, and my leadership was weak. And they crushed me, dude. Like,
How much did paramedics and EMTs and firefighters make when you started? Like 30 grand, 40 grand if you made it through?
yeah, like I think I started at like 48,000 a year
So you're
with.
making like 6x that at one point. So like how did you kill off that ego to be like, here I'm the new guy. No one
Yeah,
cares about what I've done
yeah.
or
There is something about making it, getting the like being a fireman that is like kind of scratches your ego a little bit because it's a really hard job to get. So, but what did I delve into? Like to like feel like a fucking man was the fact that I was a bad, like physically, I was like, I'm not anywhere near where I am now, but I was a badass physically. I could perform and mentally in the fitness stuff, like I would, I could perform, like I could outperform guys. But when it came to like performing skills under pressure or making critical decisions, not so much. Not so
Mhm.
much. That was
Yeah.
what I really need to work on. And so, um,
So you're like Michael Jordan. You know about what Michael Jordan said?
what did he say?
He was like Michael Jordan was like, in the beginning, you know, I could outscore everyone. I used my body and I could outmaneuver everyone, jump over everyone. He's like, but when I used my mind, that's when the real artistry came out.
Dude, this is like it's so huge because you do have to have the physical fitness and you have to
Oh,
have
no doubt. You definitely gotta be fit. But when you
yeah,
master that head game and you got the physicality, it's game
yeah.
over.
And then the head game keeps the fitness in check because you do it with your mind because people who don't have their mind in check will skip what it, what will get you farther than your genetics, or they'll skip what it takes, right, to get physically better too. So it's all encompassing, and then and the mental game will also deliver you in a place where you're using the discipline in order to pull spiritual power as well. And spiritual power will help you in your presence. It'll help you with your confidence. It'll help you start to soak in wisdom, things that you're supposed to learn in the lessons in your life. But if you don't have discipline, then all that is blocked, right? Your physical fitness will be lacking because whatever you are, that's what you'll be. Some people are genetically better off than others, but it'll be. And you won't learn what you're supposed to learn in life because those who are undisciplined are the most negative people, because they make excuses. They say, well, he's only like this because, and they don't give people credit for where they are. And those are your biggest haters out there are the ones that are the least disciplined, because they're also emotionally undisciplined. They can't discipline themselves not to write some comment that they know is going to hurt someone and is worthless just because they're feeling angry. They don't have the discipline to be like, that's probably not the best idea, right? So without this discipline, like you're screwed, you're stuck. And this is like probably the biggest thing that I've learned through the process of going through all this shit and trying to rise in a job that I'm not naturally cut out for. The more I show up consistently with discipline, the more I will outproduce others that are not. Simple. And very few people show up at that level, very few. So if you want to rise above and become the top in what you do, all you have to do is show up every day for a long period of time. Like literally, that's it. It's that simple. Not easy, but it really is that simple.
Yeah, like in that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, they're like saying like just get if you get 1% worse every single day, by the end of the year you're going to be at 0, but if you just get 1% better every day, then it's just going to be exponential growth, such as like you're saying just show up. Like sometimes I don't want to work out, but I'm like, listen, let me just go outside and go for a walk. It may not be the gym, but hey, at least I hit 10,000 steps today. I might have not, did strength training to, go get my pump on, but hey, at least I hit my steps. It's better
Yeah, and
than just
that
like
depends.
chilling here and like not doing nothing.
That depends where your head's at, right? Like if I did that, I'd be like, "You're an absolute bitch. Like, get your fucking ass. You took the pussy route, you know." But that's not for everybody. Like that would be my voice and my path. Like I know what I want and I know what I must do to get there. So if I took the easy route, even if I did something, I'm like, you're half-assing it, dude. Like, where does this excuse come from? But it depends what you want, or even more deeper than what you want. What are you pulled to become? Like, what is God whispering you is your path? Like, who must you become to have this impact in this world? And then you go, okay, what must I do? And then you declare, okay, I will do this. And so anything outside of that is an excuse, right? Different outlook. And that's what I mean by consistency. Like, if your plan is to walk every day, and I have guys that are on that plan, 10,000 steps a day. And if they're like, well, at least I got 5,000, I'll be like, you failed. You failed yourself. You're a liar. And you will not become who you want to become. And you will not leverage spiritual power because you said you would do something you didn't. So you're out of integrity and character. So whatever it is that you declared that you will do, like, I will get up tomorrow at 5 a.m. And you're like, oh, snooze, meh. You're fucked. You're fucked. Like, you just screwed your whole day from that moment on. Now, can you bounce back from that? Sure, you can. Yes. Like, have I snoozed my alarm before? Yeah. And I felt like shit. I'm like, damn it. And then I get a hard workout in, and I do my studies, and I work hard that day, and I treat my wife right, and I step up for my kids. There's always like this little rub, but I know I'm not really going to make up for it until tomorrow when I do what I said I'm going to do. Now I can be like, okay, we're back in the game, but I'll be out of power a little bit. Like, I just will. I'll look in the mirror and it'll be like, you snoozed. And I'm like, but if I do everything that I said I was going to do, and then maybe more, and I look in the mirror and it's clear. It's like, yep, you're on the path, dude. Keep going. This is it. This is it right here. Stay in this lane. And you just feel good. Like, damn, rather than trying to look in the mirror and be like, it's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's hard out there. I get it. Like, no. Truth. Different way to look at things. I want to be held accountable, because if you're held accountable, you're gonna show up, and you're gonna be successful.
So who's holding you accountable? You're the superhuman dad. Who holds the superhuman dad accountable?
Bro, we all do. There's 540 of us in this group. Like,
oh wow,
yeah, I lead savages that are after me. So, like, I have to, if I'm going to lead, I have to come from a position of power, which means I can't relent ever. I also have multiple coaches. Wes Watson's my man. That is the guy. That is my foundation. I work with Garrett White, Andy Elliott. Those are my three. I report to them on a regular basis. They're watching me. They know what I'm doing. So I'm put in a corner of accountability, which there's no escape. I'd rather be hit by a bus and disappoint my people. No question. Like, I will braveheart this shit if I have to. There's no going back,
So you were a firefighter for 7 or 8 years, about. 15. At what point did you get the courage to leave that behind?
So I started coaching firemen in the firehouse on fitness. I had an app and everything. I was just, because my wife had an online coaching business, and I was like, hey, what's that app you use? She told me, and I was like, starting to put guys in the firehouse in there because they were asking for my help. I was getting busy. I was like, dude, I don't know. How am I going to organize this? So I had an app. I was building workouts, and like, I was even like basically running it like a business, but it wasn't a business. It was just helping out my friends. And then I had started this Instagram called Superhuman Fathers. And I honestly don't even remember why I did that, or like, I don't remember the moment when I like made that Instagram. I just know I made this Instagram, and I was like, I'm going to start putting out messages about how I'm a shitty dad. Cause like, I still was having problems with anger and apathy and sarcasm, like we all do when we're frustrated, or, I'd come home from the firehouse with no sleep, just broke, and then the kids are loud and they're fighting. And I was just like, dude, I cannot control myself. I'm out of control, and then I'd notice like the kitchen's dirty, and I'd be on the couch just sitting there looking at the dirty kitchen. I'm like, it's like, you should clean that. You should clean that. You should clean that. You should clean that. I'm like, no. No. So I was like, okay, I see what my problems are here. And that's what I attacked. And I started to connect to this voice, that voice that says, you should get up and clean that. Hey, you need to treat them with more respect. Hey, you need to calm down. Hey, you need to quit drinking. Hey, you need to work out. Hey, you need to get your nutrition dialed. Hey, you need to stop looking at that porn. Damn, there's a lot of haze here. So I started leaning into these little pokes of like what I needed to do and started believing and just having faith and just starting to put those things on the altar one at a time. And very quickly became a different human, very quickly. And as I rose, people followed me. The more people followed me, one of my coaches was like, you have $100 million brand. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you need to structure this now. And I was like, okay. And I put it out to the world and it was like, I set up a payment plan and all this stuff. And there was like 20 guys right away. As soon as I put the message out, it went from 20 to 100 to 300 to 500. And now we're bringing in like 100 people a month. Like, it's nuts. I think we brought in like 92 people last month. It's nuts.
The Superhuman Father Clan. What do you call your organization? Clan, posse,
brotherhood. Yeah. And that it is. Like I was asking a guy the other day, he's kind of out of power. He's lost his confidence. He's 47. He's made money in the past, but he's just broken. I was like, who loves you, man? He's like, what do you mean? I go, who loves you? He goes, God. I go, yeah. Who else? My wife? Yeah. My kids? Yeah. I go, who else? He's like, it's kind of it. I go, bro, like, there's 500 men here that are waiting for you that will slit their throats for you. Like, they love you that much. They don't even know you. Like, you come in here, you get engulfed in just this like powerful support of men that are committed to the level at which I speak, committed to fatherhood, committed to being the leaders, the real leaders, the non-hypocritical, exemplary leaders to their kids, guys who are hyper-focused on their daily schedule and who are rising in power and vibrate at a very high level. And when you walk into that, it's like you just feel it immediately. It's like a rush. You're like, okay, yeah, this is what I was looking for. Hence why we're growing so fast.
So I'm going to be a dad soon. So I hope to become a superhuman father to the best of my abilities. What's the biggest adjustment for someone like that that's possibly going to be a father in the next
like
6 to 12 months? Like what's that different like mindset that we have to have?
You need to die. Yeah. Like the old you needs to die. Because if the more you hang on to what it used to be, the more selfish father you're going to be. Well, what about me? I have to take care of this kid. I don't get any sleep. And this kid's crying and I'm trying to play my video games. Like young fathers are the worst of that shit because you're set in your ways. And then the kid kind of gets in the way. And it's like, God, he keeps crying. Yeah, you have a fucking baby, you moron. Like, it's your privilege to help this kid in his life. Like there's one thing that matters now, and it's your kid and your wife, and that's it. So what does that mean? That means you now need to build the man that he will follow. Because if you don't, he'll find someone to lead him and it won't be you. Period. This is like the point of Superhuman Fathers. It's like, what do our kids admire? Like, what does a young man admire? Well, I mean, look at the movies that they watch and like what they want to be. They're like superhero movies and like Gladiator and Braveheart and freaking Superman. And it's like, okay, well, how do we become most like that? You know, well, who do you admire? You know, people reading books. Like I've read all of them. Like I've listened to like every freaking Jocko podcast known to man, all Goggins books, like all these guys that have inspired me. I'm like, well, why the fuck would I not be that for my kids? So how do I have to structure my life so that they don't have to look elsewhere to find inspiration? Because in that pursuit, they're going to find some bad leaders in the process. And they're going to be led down some dark places. Well, why don't I just vibrate at such a high level that they feel amazing around me so that when they go out into the world, they can gauge how they feel when they're talking to people or experiencing situations or having to negotiate their way through life. I want them to be able to pull from my wisdom or come to me when they have problems because they're like, dude, my dad's got it fucking figured out. Look at him. He's jacked. He's fucking in his 40s and 50s. He's all ripped, jacked. Looks like I want to look like. He makes money. He treats his mom really well, and he always makes us feel special. Right? Like, so if we do all those things, we'll be the source. We'll be their coach. We'll be get to be their guide through life. I want to be my children's guide, but that shit's earned. You don't just get it because you have the title of dad. They'll be judging everything that you do, comparing it to everything that you say, and just they're looking for a reason not to follow you. Because there's a frustration with a father where they're just like, you can't tell me what to do. But at some point, if you're so undeniable as a human, they're like, they can say, you can't tell me what to do, but at some point they're like, hey, what should I do here? And you're like, I got you. Right? Well, I can ask my dad. He knows all about that. So it behooves us to educate ourselves to such a high level in the things of life that they are interested in or that they love or the attributes that they want so that they'll come to us.
So essentially you're saying in order to become a superhuman father, you have to kill the ego.
You have to, like, if you notice between father and son, like the dad, if there's a fight between a father and a son, usually it's the father's ego is the problem. Like, I'm your father. You will listen to me. It's like you don't inspire your kid. You lead with compulsion because you're a hypocrite. Like if you're not living it and you're trying to tell them to do something and they're not doing it, that's on you. Like it's more like this, son, I'm sorry that I did not exemplify this for you. And I know I'm a hypocrite and I need to get my shit together. But do you want to turn out like me? Look at me. I'm a piece of shit. Like, do you want to turn out like me? That's how you should teach your kid if you haven't been living it. It's the only way it's going to work because it's the only thing that's honest. Otherwise, the rest is lies. They're going to be, my dad lies. They can feel it. They're like, this is not make sense. What he's telling me is not. At some point, they're going to be like, my dad's a liar. I don't trust him. Right? This is what I say. Live the message that you teach, or at least speak the truth that you're living. That's how you be an imperfect father, because we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. So when I fuck up or I'm in a place where things aren't aligned, I have to announce that to my kids. Hey, let's look. I fucked this up. I said this, but I did this. I'm out of alignment. I have to fix that. Right. And they're like, oh, I get that. Yeah, thank you. That makes sense. Right. But if I try to hide it, scrape it under the rug, and try to look better than I actually am, they're going to smell that bullshit. Take the mask off. Just be real with your kids. And if you are struggling, man, share your struggles with them. You know, I talk to my kids about like my personal struggles with porn. You know, I've overcome it, but they need to know what I went through because they're teenagers. Like they need to know how dangerous that shit is. Otherwise, what if I was like, never told them about it? Well, I don't want them to know that I made a mistake once. I need them to think that their dad is perfect. You never made a mistake. Bro, you need to tell them all of your mistakes and how you got out of it and why. And then ask them what they want. And then help them have a plan to get what they want. And then ask them questions if these things will help them to get what they want or if it'll take it away. Now, in the moment of negotiations, your kids will have a story to pull from. Oh, my dad told me about this. Man, maybe I shouldn't mess with this. Right? Rather than either never talking about it or just hiding it. It's like if you used to do cocaine and party and cocaine and hookers and stuff, like tell your kids, Like, hey, at the time, I thought this was the way to go. But here's what I learned. I hit rock bottom because of this, and this, right? I don't care if your kid's 10 years old. Like, tell them. These kids are smart, dude. And they got.
How do you bring this up to your kids? You don't just like say, "Hey, I used to do this."
Sure,
Like,
sure. Why not?
how's this come up in
Why not?
conversation?
Why not? Hey, listen, I want to talk to you about pornography. Yeah. Dude, you guys see porn? Like, do your friends look at it and stuff? Like, you see it on the internet? Like, you see it, right? You see, because I'm on my Instagram and like, it's like tits everywhere. Like, I don't even look at that stuff. And it's like, I go on my Facebook reels and every Facebook reel is like some dancing chick. I'm like, bro, they are trying to poison me. I'm like, what? Like, I look at my wife, I go, look at it. They're trying to get me, And they see it. Like, they get it too. So just talk to them. This is another thing. People are always like, afraid to have hard conversations with people. Like, just have a hard conversation. You don't have to like set it up. You don't have to like wait for the right moment. It just doesn't feel right now. Just have some balls and just have hard conversations. Like, go to that place where people are uncomfortable and get good at that. If you can get good at having uncomfortable conversations, you're going to win at life. You're going to be an excellent leader. You're going to be a great coach. Like, the biggest changes that I have are people, when I first talk to them, I assess their life and I tell them how fucked up they are. Like, and I call them what they are. If they're a liar, they're a liar. If they're a hypocrite, they're a hypocrite. If they're a piece of shit, they're a piece of shit. If they're fat as fuck, they're fat as fuck. Like, we're so soft on everybody because we're afraid to hurt their feelings. But you got to crack them open to get them to make a move. Otherwise, we're like, no, you're okay. But in your head, then you go talk to somebody else and you're like, they're fucked. Oh, no, it's okay. I know it's hard. Dude, that guy's fucked up. Look at him. He's so fat. He has no discipline. Man, he's not going to make it. You selfish prick. You should have told him that. Somebody needs to tell him that, but everyone's afraid. And then don't just tell him, like, be there for him. Help him.
Yeah,
Tell
I
him
mean, for you, Kyle, what was the most difficult subject that you had to chat with your kids?
Dude, now, like, who I am, like, I don't care. I'll talk about anything. Everything's on the table. In Superhuman Fathers, we talk about everything openly with hundreds of men. You come here to learn how to crush your ego and be vulnerable. Like, that's a must. All masks off. Like, you should have heard us yesterday. My buddy Ryan Augustine, he came in. He could not be vulnerable, dude. If a man cried in front of him, like, we have a lot of man tears on our Zoom calls, but like, he would like turn away from the screen. He's like, I can't look at this. He had all kinds of skeletons in the closet, and at some point, very quickly, he learned to just share his bullshit with the group. He shared. He's like, it empowered him. It took the power away from his addictions, and like, it healed his marriage, it healed his confidence, and then, like, if you go in and read his transformation, like, I posted it on my Instagram today, like, right out the gates, he's like, I was a liar. I struggled with pornography. Um, I ran from my family for work and recently cheated on my wife. Like, just puts it out there. I'm like, damn, this guy who could barely tell the truth about anything was hiding his secret life. Completely goes the opposite. Now he's posting it on the Superhuman Fathers Instagram with his transformation post of like how much of a piece of shit he was. Like, that's so powerful, Like, and I just, even right now, there's guys that like are like, well, I don't know if I want to join your group because, I have some things that I don't want the group to know. Can I just tell you? I'm like, no, this is your problem. This is your problem. You're hiding. Stop hiding. Accept the fact that you're imperfect just like everybody else. That's your ego putting a mask on you. You're fake as fuck. Like, you have to come and just announce it to the group. Like, hey, here's all my problems. And you're gonna have 100 other guys be like, yeah, me too. And you're like, holy shit, I'm not alone. And we're all fucked up? Yes. That's the thing you need to know. We're all fucked up. Yes. And we're all just playing this game of like trying to be better. That's it. And you can get good at it. You can. You can get out of this darkness. But it takes a brotherhood. It takes a tribe. Otherwise, you live this secret life.
Yeah, I feel like Joe Rogan said it best. He's like, remember when you were a kid and you thought, one day I'll be an adult and I'll have it all figured out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's like, well, that's when I'm 40. I'll probably be dead by then, so it doesn't even matter. Little do you know, like 40 plus, been by far been the most powerful, beautiful, adventurous years of my life. Like, not exponentially. That's cool. I never would have thought. So now I'm like, well, shit, 50, 60, 70. Like, does it just get better? I think it just gets better. And people are like, well, but your body starts to deteriorate. I'm like, I actually don't even care about that. Like, the mind, and the better you get at suffering, the less that stuff will bother you. And so that's what we practice. Life's so easy. So we manufacture hardship and consistency to be prepared for when shit gets hard and we get older, but we keep our mind fresh, and we can still serve at a high level. I mean, there's nothing more epic than like having these guys that have like physical medical conditions where they're in pain all day and yet they're just serving others all day. And no one even knows. It's just them and God. And they're like, thank you for this challenge. And thank you for the blessing that I have to serve these people. It's like, wow, that is spiritual and mental like alignment. Like that's when you found it. You're invincible, fearless, not afraid of pain, not afraid of work, not afraid of inconvenience or chaos, just grateful.
This conversation got real deep, Kyle. I love it, man.
I
I was not expecting this when I hopped on, but I'm loving it.
I don't have
bringing the fire.
I don't. These are all my conversations. I don't talk bullshit with people. Like we're gonna get any conversation I have with another human will be at this level, all of them. Because what else matters? Like there's no reason to have surface level talk with powerful spiritual beings, which we are. Like why not have a mastermind between every conversation that you have, a place where it's you, this person, and a connection to God, and you're both finding like magic nuggets that can make you more grateful and push you forward in life. Every conversation is a miracle.
So what's next for the Superhuman Father Brotherhood to get
Massive
to the
expanse.
next level?
It's happening right now. It's growing massively. It's just, I mean, a couple of things. One, I'm organizing my army because we're at over 500 guys now. So we're placing leadership and structure and command. So that we can ultimately continue to grow and we can still keep very personal touches, Plus we can have different groups that are now competing with other groups, with tribes within the tribe, which is going to be so fun. That's going to be huge. I'm trying to hire a full-time guy to film me to do my social media because I need that. Like I need a guy to film this whole conversation and make clips and cuts of it. I need to focus on my long form YouTube, my shorts, my reels, all that stuff. I've been doing a lot of it, but I need to get more serious and get it more professional. Not professional, just more quality, I should say. I don't care about professional. I tell my guys we're not a business. We are a savage. We're a tribe of savages. There are no titles here. We have no titles in our group other than the ones that are earned within the group. But in the leadership, like we don't have a C-suite. Like there's no CEO and CFO. We don't play that. We have things that we do. Each person is assigned certain tasks, right? But I don't want this to be a business. It's a movement. Some other things, man. I'm personally looking for like a beautiful place to live and host at my events, which is super like daunting to me because I think I pay like $3,000 a month in rent right now, and I'm like looking at places that are going to be like 30,000, But like that's the point. It's like expand, take risks, have adventure. Like give your group a gift of a place, a hub, where like it can be amazing for them. So I tell them to take risks, like, but I'm not willing to do it. Like I have to live what I teach. So we're always pushing, you
Gotta
know.
live your truth, man. Live the truth.
Live,
Brutal
live.
honesty
That's it,
and holding everyone accountable and not being scared to tell them
dude.
what
That's
they need
huge.
to hear.
Yeah, like it's huge. That's like probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned this year. Is like
I tell
no more.
myself I suck like every day sometimes. Like I'm like, man, you suck. But it's not to like get myself down. It's just like you could do better. It's just like because for me, I'm just like, yo, you're not doing this to the best of your abilities. You need to like step it up versus like, I'm a failure and then you just crumble into
Totally.
pieces.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't stop, failure is a lie. If you don't ever quit, there's no failure, right? And then if you are doing good, your conscience will tell you. It'll tell you if you suck, or it'll tell you like, hey, you're putting forth the effort, man. Good for you. Like, and if you're never getting this feeling of like, hey, good for you, you're putting forth the effort, you need to work harder. You're not putting forth enough effort. Once you put in forth enough effort, like your conscience will tell you. It'll be like, damn, you're fucking it up. Good job, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So if you want to become a superhuman father, it's very easy to find Kyle on Instagram because he's the only superhuman father on there. And one question I'm curious about, and we'll wrap things up on this note because I know you got a lot to say about what I'm about to ask you, is when you're pushing it so hard and you're going so hard, how do you know when to pull yourself back just a little, or do you not believe in having to pull yourself back sometimes?
so that's a pretty massive philosophical concept, but your default should be go. But like, there's times when I'm like, I need a 15-minute nap, right? Like I'm falling asleep, I can't focus. So like I'll go take a nap. And then when I wake up, I just go back at it again, right? But like I don't need a vacation. Like I don't need like to go have drinks to let some steam off, you know? I let steam off by riding my skateboard with my kids or going to the gym, Like that's everything has a purpose. Like even when I go to the gym, like I bring my two oldest kids and my wife at 5:30 in the morning every morning. So it's like amazing connection time and I'm getting my fitness in. And then, and then I'll try to ride my skateboard for like 30 minutes a day. That's my like time to like get the wiggles out. But other than that, then it's just family and business and service, creation. And that's it. So if I need to adjust and like, man, like maybe I've been on calls all day and I'm like, all right, I want to do some writing and work on some content. It's like I'm always working on something or just adjusting to move to like shift my focus to make sure that it's like kind of staying fresh. But I'm not like watching Netflix series by myself. If I am, it's with my family and it's what they want to watch, not what I want to watch. You know what I mean? And then
Kill
usually,
the ego.
yeah, and usually that'll end up me looking in the dishwasher and be like, shit, I'm gonna do those dishes. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're ready to sit down, and then like there's just more mess around the house, and it's like somebody's got to do this. So fuck it. Always in the game, dude.
Always be in the game. Become a superhuman, whether it's superhuman father, superhuman mother, or just a superhuman, whatever you want to be. Just make sure that you go and do it every day. Glad to have Kyle on. And thanks everyone for listening. We'll see y'all next time.